All right, the time is 3:30. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 3:30 p.m. All right, we'll go ahead and please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, can you please call the roll, please?
Councilmember Salazar. Present. Councilmember Sandoval. Chair Barajas.
Present. Thank you. All right, we will now move into public comment on items not on today's agenda. Are there any members of the public that wish to comment on any items not on today's agenda? Anyone online? All right, we'll go ahead and close out public comment. We'll now move into our consent agenda. Would any member of the body like to pull any items for individual consideration? I will go ahead and pull the consent item ID number 25-225, the minutes from the March 18th, 2025 Housing and Land Use Committee meeting for a separate discussion. We'll go ahead and move into that since it's the only item under consent. So I wanted to bring to staff's attention that when we click on ID number 25-225, minutes from March 18th, first of all, the meetings from the March 18th meeting were already approved at the June meeting. So this looks like a mistake, and this should be the meetings, what we're approving today should be the minutes for the June meeting, not the March meeting. When we click on ID 25-225, it still produces incorrect minutes. The minutes that are produced on there are for the March meeting, but the consideration item on those minutes is the consideration item on today's agenda. It's ID number 25-303, the first substantial amendment to HUD fiscal year 2023-2024 annual action plan, right? So that's also placed there mistakenly. When we go to the agenda for the June 10th meeting as well, and you also click on that item, ID number 25-225, it also still has incorrect minutes from the March meeting. So what I would ask is not for us not to approve the minutes today, but also ask that staff revise the meeting's minutes for the entire calendar year this year. Look at our meeting minutes for March, look at our meeting minutes for June, and make sure our minute meetings for today's meeting are also done accurately, and then we can go ahead and approve all three of those at our next subsequent meeting. Do we need a formal motion to include that? I'll go ahead and make that formally so that we can just get that on the record. I'd like to make a motion to table the minutes from the March 18th meeting and request that staff bring back corrected minutes for the March 18th, the June 10th, and today, August 19th meeting at our next Housing and Land Use Committee meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we'll go ahead and call that for a vote.
Councilman Salazar.
Yes.
Councilman Sandoval. Chair Barajas.
Yes. All right. We will now move, we have no consideration items, no public hearings, but we do have an administrative report, ID number 25-303, the first substantial amendment to the Housing and Urban Development fiscal year 23-24 annual action plan. And we have Mr. Vincent Montgomery, Planning Manager with the CDD Housing Division.
Good afternoon. First of all, welcome, and we appreciate, the Housing and Land Use Committee. I also want to thank the members of the committee as well as the public who may be viewing us via YouTube. So today, the purpose of today's meeting, next slide, please. I have it. Is to recommend support for a city council resolution that authorizes the submission of a first substantial amendment to the fiscal year 2023-2024 annual action plan to HUD. Number two, allocate $595,000 in additional CDBG funds to the Sherwood Recreation Center SRC Building Improvement Project. And also authorize the city manager or designee to finalize and execute all necessary documents regarding this resolution. A little background on the Sherwood Recreational Center. As you probably know, for those who don't, it's located at 920 North Main Street in City of Salinas, California. What you're viewing now is an elevation of the current Phase 4 project. And the project goal, obviously, is to convert the former municipal swimming pool, which is a 12,890 square foot, into a youth-focused recreation center. Previous phases actually are completed with regard to the internal construction. The current phase is the exterior upgrades, accessibility, parking, landscaping, and some additional interior work that will also be done in Phase 4. We're asking for the additional CDBG funds to be allocated because of the bid opening that helped us identify a $595,000 shortfall for construction management as well as construction. Activity delivery came in a little bit higher. Proposed amount was a little bit higher at $280,191. Pre-development was exactly what was proposed. Construction is where most of the difference was, and construction management, there's a slight difference there as well. So the total project cost initially that was allocated was $3,951,796. The new projected proposed amount is $4,546,796. And so the amount of dollars that we are proposing to move are from projects that are either stalled or have not been implemented yet. And so we're proposing to remove $550,000 from the Republic Cafe, as well as $45,000 from the City of Salinas Housing Referrals and Tenant Landlord Services categories, which would bring the total of $595,000 to the Sherwood Recreation Center Building Improvement Project. We have had a 30-day notice published on July 27th, 2025, in both English as well as Spanish. We distributed it through the Monterey Herald City website, the City Hall, as well as libraries. The 30-day public comment period ends on August the 26th, 2025, and our goal is to ensure transparency and community input, which is why we did what we did as a requirement as well. HUD compliance helps reduce CDB balance and meet expenditure ratio requirements, which is why we were asking to move those dollars, because it would help us to meet our expenditure requirements much better than if we left those dollars in the Republic Cafe, which is the project is not moving forward. And so the recommendation, as you can see, is to support the submission of the substantial amendment to HUD, to approve the reallocation of the $595,000 in CDBG funds, and to authorize the city manager or designee to execute all related documents concerning this request. So we are open for comments and we'll be able to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Montgomery. I'll go ahead and ask members of the body, are there any clarifying questions at this time?
I just wanted to know, with those two projects regarding Republic Cafe and the housing referral and tenant landlord services, what will be the status of those services and programs, projects?
Well, the projects will continue once, once they move forward. We will still fund them using the 25-26 allocation, I believe, of the CDBG funds. Is that correct? for future allocation, so they will still be funded. We'll just move the dollars now, but we'll actually replace those dollars once those projects begin to move forward.
Okay, so what I'm hearing then is it'll be covered in the 25-26 fiscal year? Okay.
Hi, I'm Francisco Brambilla, management analyst, and the way that it's work is once we are ready to actually closer to the construction phase of the project, then that's when we're going to be able to allocate the funding. This is right now we're in the design phase of this project. Now this at least the Republic Cafe is located in the Chinatown area. In it, we also have two other lots that the city purchased, and we're trying to develop those two lots plus include the Republic Cafe into it. So right now we're in the design phase for all those projects. Now once we have we're closer to the construction phase, then we're going to be able to allocate funding for this project.
Okay, and again, that would be from fiscal year 25-26. I think that's what I heard.
It could be. Because once we go to for the request for proposals, we identify a developer. Then that developer is going to have to look for the additional funding that is going to be needed in order for us to build the development. So once they have that funding almost secure, then we can also use for some of the funding that we have on CDBG and home if it comes to it.
Thank you.
Is that all your questions, Councilmember?
Yes.
Okay. I do have some additional questions. While we're on that topic of potentially refunding or reallocating some funding to, Republic Cafe or the Housing Referrals and Tenant Landlord Services at a future date, is that because we're an entitlement city, we're not concerned about securing funding because we automatically get it? Is that kind of the line of thinking?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that on my
Correct.
end, right? Because I was concerned, okay, if we're removing $500,000 from Republic Cafe, that's not an easy allocation for the council to just make, but as you guys clarified it, that's
That
a
is
little
correct.
bit more settling. Okay. Can you go back to the previous slide on project funding, please? Okay, on this one, understand that the economy continues to fluctuate and there's external factors that play into this. But my biggest concern was with the original amount that staff had identified in the bid for construction management costs. In aggregate, the total dollar amount isn't too concerning. It's within the 15% range, which is expected. But the construction management costs, percentage-wise, it's a 97% increase from $297,000 to $587,000. Do we know why we were so far off on that one? The other ones, the percentages are relatively understandable, but this one's just, it really stands out.
Yeah.
Was there something about the project, gets those costs?
Yeah, one thing that we did in this case is that we allocated additional contingency funds. So we put them under the construction management line item for that. But it's more of the contingency funds that we're going to need in case if there's additional change orders that need to happen in the project.
Are contingency funds typically placed under construction management, or would it be best allocated based on what those contingencies are for, right? If those contingencies are for construction materials and change orders, they would be under construction, right?
Yeah, for the purposes of simplifying the budgets, we put it in there, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that clarification. While we're on this slide, can we just elaborate on what activity delivery means? Pre-development, construction, and construction management seem pretty straightforward and self-explanatory.
Yeah.
But what's the activity delivery here if we're doing construction or pre-design work?
So under CDBG, HUD allows us, CDBG regulations, it allows us to allocate a certain percentage of overall project cost for administration of the actual project. So in this case, activity delivery will be used to pay for the staff that is working on this project.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. If we could move on to the next slide, please. All right. Along the same lines of Councilmember Sandoval's questions on, what would be the status of these services, Republic Cafe, pretty self-explanatory. That's a project still in development. However, the housing referrals and tenant and landlord services, does this mean that for what period of time are we not offering those services, or is that just a reduction in the overall capacity to produce those services? Because it sounds like a complement to the existing other existing programs or sources of funding that offer similar services?
Yeah, this activity is actually part of the public services activity. We usually give 2 years for any public services to spend their funds. Now, in this case, the city didn't identify it an agency that would actually give us those services. Now, we have allocated funding for this action plan year for that purpose. So those funds were not being used. So instead of us leaving them there, we had to move them into a project that can actually move forward.
And is there-
But for this year, there's additional funds that are being allocated for that purpose. This action plan year,
Okay.
because those funds are from 2023-24.
Okay, so just again, just so I understand correctly, the services were still going to be provided with other sources of funding, correct?
With this upcoming the current annual action plan year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. If we could go on to the next slide, please. All right, appreciate the public engagement and, the public noticing that was done, but with this particular plan, particularly with it impacting the cafe, were the parties vested in that project's, follow through and fruition notified like folks over at ACE? Obviously, we posted it and publicly noticed it, but were those parties kind of like, brought into the fold, made aware of that this, I'm sure they're probably aware that the project has been stalled to an extent, but that this could further postpone that or extend that timeline?
They are, because whenever we have our downtown community board meetings, we have been talking about this for quite some time already. So we have been saying, okay, we have this funding right here, right now. If we don't move it, we might be able to lose. We might lose it. So in this case, okay, let's move those funds right now to an activity that can actually that can expend those funds, and then we can reallocate the funds in future action plan years.
Okay. And then my final question is largely just more so for clarification on the action plan years, because obviously we're talking 23, 24, and we're fiscal year 25, 26. Are the action plans based on calendar year or fiscal year?
No, fiscal year.
Fiscal year,
years.
okay. And then they're submitted in like a 5-year program, correct, or a multi-year program?
We have the consolidated plan. The consolidated plan is for a 5-year period. Now, each year we have to do an annual action plan. So in this case, the funding that we had allocated those funds at that time when we created the 23-24 annual action plan.
Okay. And are we kind of judged or graded per se based on our aggregate performance at the end of the 5-year period, rather than like a?
No, it's actually on a yearly basis. In the case of CDBG funds, we had to meet a certain ratio of funding that is on the line of credit. So we cannot have more than 1.5% of our current allocation in our line of credit in CDBG fund that hasn't been spent. So that's the whole purpose of actually us moving those funds in order to a project that is actually going to be moving forward, in order for us to meet that expenditure ratio.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that clarification. That's all my questions. I'll go ahead and take it out for a public comment on this item. Are there any members of the public that wish to comment on this item? Anyone online? All right. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close out public comment on this item. We'll bring it back to the council for, it's not an action item, so we won't take formal action, but they're requesting support for those 3 items. Is there a motion on the floor at this time?
That would be a motion to support staff's recommendation.
All right. Go ahead and second that motion. Clerk, can you please call for a vote?
Councilman Salazar,
Yes.
Councilman Sandoval, Chair Barajas,
Yes. All right, motion carries. And I believe that concludes today's agenda.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to ending at 3:50 p.m. Thank you.